And we're back.
And we're back.
We're back outside to this.
All right. Nice outdoor. We're here with the rebels in the forest. Okay, so Andor Season 2, Episode 11. Double wow, maybe even triple wow. Eh?
Yeah,
we're getting it's like you're just going up that roller coaster and you're about to, right? You're just cresting the top and you're about to go down. Like the anticipation is crazy.
Yeah, the down is the original trilogy that this is building up to, you know?
Exactly.
To Rogue One, where like the final scene is literally the beginning of the first movie, which
right.
So yeah, wow.
Right. And I think that I know we've touched on it a lot, but it really is, you know, kind of
crazy.
The overwhelming, for me, like the overwhelming kind of framework of this is that I just didn't realize where we were in the timeline and how quickly, you know, we went from BB4 to 3 to 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're like weeks away, right? Like I saw this thing the other day on the internet that said, like, showed these two scenes and that like this happens over, like, from the end of Andor to the start of Star Wars is like a couple of weeks or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but it's
like
a short period of time.
We'll have to watch the final episode to know exactly when the final episode is set. But it could maybe lead to Rogue One, and Rogue One ends at the beginning.
Yeah,
and it's just
right, and that but even And sorry, and all I wanted to say about Rogue One, when they made Rogue One, I was so happy because in a way for me, Rogue One was maybe like the redemption, because a lot of us didn't appreciate the original prequel triple there.
Yeah.
And Rogue One was like, okay, yeah, this is, you know, it was good. It wasn't too silly. It was told more of the story, or, you know, and I know anyways. And I think, you know, I certainly will go back and look at the original trilogy again with better
understanding,
accepting and acceptance and stuff like that.
Rogue One to you kind of made the prequels a bit better because like it was less silly, more like almost serious. But
I don't know that it made them at the time that it made them better so much as that it brought me back into Star Wars.
Right.
You know, Rogue One rebooted my love for Star Wars, that they could like make, that they could squeeze in, like that there was room. To me, Rogue One was the start of the universe, right?
Right.
That and so that the fact that we're coming back up to that with an even better, in some ways, approach is awesome.
It's like watching the Big Bang happen, you know? Like we're
almost
watching this crazy thing.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. Well, good, interesting analogy. Yeah. All right, so how about the episode?
All right, episode 11 starts off with Kleya, having escaped the honor killing of her father figure, Luthen. She's at a safe house, and the Empire is hot on her trail.
Yeah.
Like, they go through security video and talk about like, holy shit, this was a highly trained team.
They're freaking out because of what happened, right? That something happened and that they couldn't catch them.
Right.
Like,
their only lead is dead now, and they're trying to find who killed him.
And they even are thinking that Dendra, who's been imprisoned, might be involved. Like they're trying to figure out, like, there's so much going on, but as always, there's like layers to what people think is going on. Right.
And you know, like, it's interesting to see like how their incorrect information eventually becomes correct information when they learn stuff, or like they're still wrong, but they're wrong at the right places to catch the characters in scenes, and it's really interesting.
Right. But it's also like, so for instance, Dendra, they accuse her, I can't remember the word, but basically of being too like nosy or whatever.
Right, like she got documents accidentally that weren't for her, but she, you know, looked into because, you know, curiosity.
Yeah, she was, and so now they've found like her digital fingerprints and figured out all the things that she's seen, and that brings us to kind of one of the most amazing moments, right?
Yeah.
And so you're watching this interrogation. It's so intense.
Nail
and this
biting.
nail biting, and that one super senior guy is like stalking from around the side. It's just the two
Right.
of them. He's trying to get at something, and she doesn't know what it is, or she's
Right.
unsure, and we don't know what it is, I don't think,
Yeah.
right? Like
It's crazy. It's like he doesn't torture her. He barely touches her, but he psychologically messes with her more than
Yeah.
any torture that could.
Yeah.
It's like he presses his thumb on her, on the top of her head, and circles her,
right.
talking about like, look, all these things that you've done.
And she knows the terror that she's inflicted, so she can't believe that this
Yeah.
terror is being kind of inflicted on her,
yeah,
right?
the pain she's caused. She's scared, especially because she knows what the Imperials will do to her
Right.
if they
And
think that there's an inkling of a
Right.
chance that she has done something.
And I think that's, she's not sure at first, is it just that she screwed up, or now they think that she's caught up in this, and then he reveals, that he knows she's been had her hands in files, and so
Right.
that, like she's committed these offense, so it's all getting tangled and all that stuff, but it
Yeah.
all kind of culminates. And I had no idea what word was going to come out when he asks her to say it, right?
The Death Star.
Death Star. Yeah, that was
The
like
Death Star.
right. That was so, and
Holy.
it's just so interesting, right? Because again, if you go back 50 years, and they were, you watch this movie and there was this thing and it was all that great, but you maybe you sort of forget the
weight.
with the weight of seeing it for the first time, and
Right.
what kind of weapon this was, and all this
Right.
stuff, right? And now this brings that back,
Right.
Like just how long it's been in secret
Yeah.
planning,
And that brings up an interesting point. The Death Star, we saw in the originals, it blew up a planet. It threatened to blow up some more and stuff. And like, that's scary, terrifying. You could destroy a whole world. That's insane.
yeah,
But when you look at the other series talking about it, it really puts the weight of it in. It wasn't just a construct that they found. It was built on the blood, sweat, tears, and death
and
of
it's so interesting,
countless countless beings. Like, Wookiees were enslaved to get the materials,
and planets were annihilated to get the energy requirements, and
prisoners who did barely any crimes at all were put in these forced labor positions and would be killed or tortured if they didn't work.
yeah,
And
yeah.
were seen as like disposable batteries to make these tools for the Empire to like attach for the socket.
Right. And so
And-
it's not only taken a fun kind of almost kid's story and added these layers of stuff on top of it, right? Intense, real kind of layers, but also all the human element, right? All the
Right.
people that were involved.
All the resources, all the sacrifices, all the
Exactly.
death
yeah,
that was put into it.
exactly. And
Yes.
so
So-
then we've got that, and then we've got the other part that starts, and that's we come back to see Andor on Yavin, and I mean they're practically starting their engines on Yavin, right?
Right,
like the X-wings are built, like
Yeah,
it's
it's crazy. Like, this season we've seen the construction of the rebellion.
Yeah.
In the last 3 episodes, I think we saw the rebellion was now a real thing, a real conceived thing. And now, it's maturing. It's no longer like there's actual protocols. There's like a character gets arrested because Andor runs off without telling anyone.
Right.
And they're like, dude, you could have just killed all of us because now
Right.
the Empire could find us. And
Right.
like, what the fuck?
And so he and so then what happens is he hears that that Luthen is in danger somehow, right? He gets worried. I can't remember. They get a signal. I can't remember what it was, but
Kleya goes back to one of Luthen's secret hiding
right.
spots.
Gets the old communicator.
She pulls out pieces out of different walls and puts them to one specific thing that is able. It's really old.
It's almost like Morse code.
Yeah, no,
like
literally like Morse code in a specific dialect to send to one of the characters on Yavin.
Somebody that might be listening to that frequency or listening for information or whatever
Yeah,
it is,
wouldn't
right?
be able to probably know
Yeah.
unless, they knew they knew.
Yeah.
And so, we see Andor and a friend of his and the robot, like playing cards. And it's really funny because the robot
Right, we
is
forgot
the
about
only
that. Yeah, we forgot
kind
about
of
comedy, humor.
Yeah, like he talks about the probability that you have
Yeah.
these cards is like statistically impossible. And
Yeah,
like,
what are you doing? Why are you playing that? That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
and then like, oh, he's bluffing because he
Yeah.
doesn't have this card. No,
Yeah.
I could have it.
Yeah.
God, you humans suck.
Yeah.
With your
No, I
improv.
forgot about that. That was good.
Robot comedy.
Well, and kind of, that there was a time when Jar Jar Binks, somebody thought that was what they were doing with Jar Jar, I think.
Right.
And they missed out on it somehow.
Yeah, like
But,
it's like when C-3PO says like the possibility that this or that is nearly impossible. It's like, don't tell me the odds.
Yeah.
This is
that's
it. It's
right.
like
Yeah.
you robots are great calculating, but humans are like the 1% that like gets those chances.
Right.
And so they get the signal, and also the Imperials get the signal, and like they lose it. Like the whole
Yeah.
control room area is
Yeah.
like focused on this one
Right.
like they black out a whole grid.
And a reminder, they get the signal because Dendra says, even though she's in prison, she's trying to help them out, right? And even though that she's potentially going to be killed for conspiring or whatever, she says, go listen to the old school frequencies or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, like, and they follow along, and like
Yeah.
the keyboard is mostly destroyed except for this one part that's able to, alert,
Yeah.
get the signal. So the Imperials rush in. They've got like they black out the whole area. They send troops in.
So they basically, the problem is that it is what people on Yavin were worried about, that if you communicate, you could get found out, has happened, right?
Right.
Andor jumps in his spaceship. He goes back to try and save Luthen. He discovers that it's just Kleya. Luthen's dead.
Yeah.
And
she tells him about everything.
tells him about everything. And so now, and sorry, that's the other thing is that we're waiting. We're Kleya's got the information, but she's got to get it out, right? She hasn't shared it with the rebellion yet, right? So now she's shared it with Andor. Andor finds her, but everything is closing in on them,
Yeah,
right?
like
then now the Empire and everyone's closing in on them,
right? Like the troops on transports arrive. They accidentally go on the wrong floor. It's one above them, so they
Yeah. I just pull over, we'll unload, and then we'll find a spot,
Yeah.
Just pull up behind my van or something,
I'll have to cut this part of this video.
Yeah, just hold on.
So,
In order to cut, you need to give an audio pause.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Imperial circle is starting to close, and it becomes this very intense, right? Like
Game of like cat and mouse.
Well, mouse that doesn't know the cat's coming is the big issue, right?
Well, yeah, and also the mouse has a dog because like there's that other funny part of like where like the Imperials are closing in, and then like one of them calls in to like like high command whatever, and like says like, did we ask for like a kill droid to come in?
Right.
And they're like, what?
Right.
And so the robot walks up to him. He goes, hey, did we call for you? Are you working on this mission? And he keeps on walking, waits 2 whole seconds, goes, no. Waits keep on walking 2 more seconds, and then he bodies him.
Right.
Off.
So that's...
And obviously, he waited that long probably to, get close enough to the guy to fight.
Right.
But it's just funny that he did that whole thing.
That is the good point, right? There's the two people. They're in a really tough situation, but the robot, the kill droid, is out there and on their side.
Right.
And so we're at this time where the things look bad for our heroes.
The walls are closing
and
in.
Walls are closing in, but there's a kill droid. And the important thing to note here really is that they've got the information of the Death Star, and they have to get that out, right?
Yeah.
That's when you think back to the original Star Wars, that's what Leia puts into R2. At one point, R2's got the hopes of the whole universe as he goes looking for Obi-Wan, right? And now the hope that packet of information is shared between humans here, and the droid that's coming to help them is the that bot. That's a good point.
Like in Rogue One, they get the plans for the Death Star, the weaknesses, like that one key torpedo-less exhaust port for the Death Star, that they're able to get to Leia before they die, before the Death Star destroys them. And this is that. This is the pre-scene of that.
That's right. Well, this is the beginning of like this
information.
This thing exists, and if you don't know about this thing, you can't start
finding
about
weaknesses. It's Achilles' heel.
Exactly.
So this is that
moment, and that's what is so interesting for me is that key information is just live with humans right now, right? It isn't.
Yeah.
If these humans get killed,
no one else knows.
No one else knows.
Yeah.
And so on that, I think we've got one last episode.
I'm gonna be sad to see this series end because it's been great.
Too.
But
I might kind of before watching Rogue One, I almost want to go back and like rewatch first season of Andor and just watch the whole thing into Rogue One because this has been good. But anyways,
well, thanks for watching.
Thanks
for getting one of our videos to 100+ views.
Yeah, 200 views, and till we meet again.
Take care, people.